Hey guys, so we are going into chapter 8. I am loving this. Like, I just decided to record myself so I can listen to myself, and I'm so happy that I decided to do this. Alright, so number 8, chapter 8. And God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth and the waters. The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained, and the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the ends of the 150 days, the waters were abated. So after the 150 days, the water was abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month on the 7th day of the month upon the mountains of one of those words, Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, were the top of the mountain seen. So the 10th month after the 150 days, the first day of the month, where the tops of the mountains are seen. And it came to pass at the end of the 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he sent forth a raven which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from the earth. Also he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned into him into the ark for the waters on the face of the whole earth. Then he had put forth for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand, and he took her and pulled her into him into the ark. And he stayed yet other 7 days. That doesn't make sense, but okay. And he stayed yet other 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came into him in the evening, and in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from the earth. And he stayed yet other 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in this first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. Okay. And in the 2nd month of the 7th and 20th day of the month was the earth dry. And God spoke unto Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee of all flesh, both of fowl and of cattle, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful, and multiply upon the earth. And Noah went forth, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping thing, and every fowl, and whatsoever creepeth upon the earth after their kind, went forth out of the ark. And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor. And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor. And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake. For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every thing living as I have done. So now God's saying that he is never going to curse the ground anymore for man's sake. For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I begin to smite any more everything living as I have done. When the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So as long as the earth remaineth, God says that those things will not cease. And that is the end of chapter 8. So in chapter 8, you kind of see that it's Noah basically trying to see if he can, come out of the ark and start life. And then eventually, once he sent the dove out many times and there was no return after the last time, he realized that the water had abated the ground. And so then God kind of talks to him, and he tells them to be fruitful and multiply, including every creeping thing, beast, fowl, all of that. And then once Noah left the ark, he basically sacrificed, the clean beast and the fowl, and he offered that to the altar. And it was a sweet smell of aroma for God. And the Lord said in his heart that he would not curse the ground anymore for man's sake. So God is not going to curse the ground anymore because of man. And he said that he will no longer basically take, every breath from life again. He says that while the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So does that mean, that's just a thought, that the end of the world is something different than what we think it is? Because he said he's not going to do that again. And I don't know, I'm glad I read that. So, all right, guys, so chapter 8, that was chapter 8, so I'll see you on chapter 9.